Packers fans, you're not dreaming. I woke up this morning probably similar to a lot of you guys. I looked at my wife and I said, I had a really weird dream last night that the Packers actually ended up trading for Micah Parsons. Well, I'm happy to report that it actually happened. And the more I think about it, the more I look about it, the more I read about it. Guys, what Brian Gutekunst and Green Bay pulled off yesterday was something special. And I truly believe that if it ends up how I think it's going to end up with this edition, that this is going to be something we're going to be talking about for a very, very long time. We got to get into all the details of the trade, talk a little bit more about Micah Parsons. That's all coming up on today's show. Don't go anywhere. But before that, you know what? It's already obvious we own the Dallas Cowboys. We own them in the playoffs. We even own them in the regular season. Now we own them in trades as well. Let's own them right here on YouTube. I challenge the Cowboys Report. Race to 100 subs today. We already put them down enough yesterday. Let's continue that dominance. Show them who really runs the NFC and who really is the best team in the history of the National Football League. Of course, that is the Packers. If you haven't joined us yet, do that today. Hit that sub button and join us for free coverage all year long. So if you hated the trade, I'll let you know this. You're going to love it by the end of today's video. And if you love the trade, well, good for you. I promise you, you are going to love today's video as well, because I'm going to do a deep dive on everything that went down yesterday and then everything that might mean for Green Bay going forward. So here was the trade. If you missed it, if you live under a rock, if you didn't see this, Cowboys got Kenny Clark, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2027 first-round pick. And, of course, the Green Bay Packers received in return Micah Parsons. Now, at first look, if you don't really follow football, that might seem like a lot. Until you realize that Green Bay, yes, they gave up Kenny Clark, but from a draft capital perspective, they gave up less than Washington did for Laramie Tunsil, Seattle did for Jamal Adams, Chicago did for Khalil Mack, the Browns did for Deshaun Watson. And then you look at a couple of draft trades. Chicago gave up more for Jay Cutler, and New Orleans gave up more for Ricky Williams. And you just got Micah freaking Parsons for only 2 first-round picks, only 2 draft picks in general. And let's be real, we kind of expect those being late in the first round anyway. So I'm not saying they're basically second-rounders, but if you're picking around 28, that's awfully close to the beginning of this second round. The cool thing is you got a guy who's doing something that we haven't seen since Reggie White. Did you know there are only 2 players in NFL history to notch 12 sacks in each of their first 4 seasons? One of them is Micah Parsons. The other one, as we know, is Reverend Reggie White. I mean, you got this guy, again, for 2 firsts. 84 tackles as a rookie, 13 sacks. 65 tackles in 2022, 13 and a half sacks. 64 tackles in 2023, 14 sacks. And then 12 sacks last year, but he only played in 13 games. And Connell, you could take me off screen for this one. We could just put that photo full screen. Hey, guys, the funny thing is I went back and I looked at my first ever Packers Report video. And I actually talked about trading for an edge rusher. And I said, I think this team needs some juice on the front 7. And you've got the ability to add a top 3 edge in the game. Do it. Well, I'm just glad that Brian Gutekunst finally got around to actually doing it. Because we've been talking about this since the day, literally, like I just showed you, I started this channel. Last year, you look at the statistics, you look at sacks, you look at sack percentage, and it kind of can convince you that this was a really, really elite unit. 45 sacks, that was top 10. 6.9 sack percentage, that was 12th best in the NFL. But then you look a little bit deeper, and we finally get to the truth. And the truth is, this team could not win on a consistent basis. They could not pressure the quarterback on a consistent basis. Their pass rush win rate, which is which percentage of their pass rushes they got off of their block in at least 2.5 seconds, 35%. That was 26th best in the NFL. Quarterback pressures, 210, barely top 20. Quarterback pressure rate, 20th, 32.3%. This was the biggest thing plaguing this team last year. They just couldn't do it. And now with Micah Parsons, Like we've showed you already, this is what he does best. Get to the quarterback. So grade the Micah trade for me, okay? I asked you to do this yesterday, but I don't know if after this new information, you might feel a little bit better about it. I don't know why you'd feel worse about it, but still, let me know in the comment section down below. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. Get those red pens out, play teacher for me, and grade the trade. Last year, the team that won the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles, they won it because they had as elite a pass rush as anybody in the league. And they could do it without sending extra guys. You look at what they did against Mahomes. 0 blitzes, yet they pressured him 26 times in the Super Bowl with 6 sacks and a pressure percentage of 42.9%. On 0 blitzes. This is the name of the game. You win championships if you're able to get to the quarterback without sacrificing anything in your secondary. And that wasn't just like a Super Bowl thing. They did it for the entirety of the postseason. 92 pressures, 15 sacks, a 54.4% pass rush win rate for the entire playoffs. This is what they did best, and that's why they got to hoist the Lombardi at the end of the season. And that's also what Micah Parsons does best, as a mugged-up linebacker. Basically, what that means is a linebacker that comes up to the line of scrimmage and lines up in the A-gap. A lot of times, it's a simulated pressure. They'll drop back into coverage, but when he's blitzing as a mugged-up linebacker, he has a 99.9 PFF grade. That's not a mistake. 99.9. The next best player is 92.1. And that player's Edgerrin Cooper. You got both. And I get it, right? Because there's people that they always want to just find the little things that are wrong. The secondary is an issue. Okay? That's for sure. Micah helps it not be an issue, though. He truly does. Like, if you can get to the quarterback in 2 seconds, the cornerbacks don't have to cover very long, right? Now, I know it's not going to be perfect in the secondary. There's going to be their glaring weaknesses. I still wouldn't mind if they added in that group. But regardless, having this elite of a pass rusher and making your front four just as a whole better because of the attention that he brings, it's going to help this secondary a ton. I got more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Before we do, I got to talk about our awesome sponsor with our friends at Underdog. Is there anything better than football season? Is there anything better than making money? What if I told you there's a way you could do both at the same time? Of course, I'm talking about our friends over at Underdog. Football is here, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Let's cut to the chase. If you download the app today and sign up with promo code Packers Report, you score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash, and you can play with as little as $1. Guys, we are just a week away from Week 1 kickoff against the Detroit Lions. Here's how my Underdog lineup is looking right now. I got the higher on Jordan Love passing touchdowns with 1.5. I also have the higher on Jahmyr Gibbs receiving yards, 25.5. And I guess I like, running backs being pass catchers because also give me the higher on Josh Jacobs, 2.5 receptions. Why don't you play along with me over at Underdog? Because right now you could download the app today and sign up with promo code Packers Report to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Packers Report. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. I've also seen a lot over the last 12, 18 hours of concerns about him finishing seasons. And your concerns are valid. I think he's shown us in his 4 seasons with Dallas, the majority of his sack totals come from the first 13 games of the season. But you also got to look into his usage rate. Because last year, when he was healthy and he played 13 games, he was used 83% of the snaps in Dallas. Rashawn Gary in Green Bay was used 59% of the snaps. Just different philosophies. Now, I don't think he's going to drop down to 59%, but I'd be shocked if he was as high as 83% in this Jeff Hafley system. So I think that's going to help elongate his seasons and help him play better at the end of it when he's typically struggled over the last 4 years. Also, I get the frustration as well. I know you love Kenny Clark too. I get it. A lot of people are really, really bummed to see him leave. He meant a lot to this team. He meant a lot to this franchise. Had some really, really great seasons since he got drafted. But financially, it helps out a ton, right? Now, I'm not saying that this interior is better off without him. But if you're going to take on a $47 million contract, it's going to be nice to get some of that money back. You're looking at his cap hits. Pre-trade, it was 20.4 in 2025. Now it's 18.1. In 2026, pre-trade 31.4. That now drops down to 17.0. And then this one's the biggest one. 2027 pre-trade was 27.1. That drops down to $0.0 million. So with him moving on to Dallas, you save a total over the next 3 years of $43.8 million in cap space. That's big for this team. That's big for this salary cap, this franchise moving forward, especially you got a lot of really good free agents available next year, and you just shelled out $47 million a year for a single player. Brian Gutekunst knew that he needed to make a move. He knew he needed to make a splash because I think he saw this roster, and he thought, we are so close to Super Bowl contention. We're not quite there yet. With this move, I'll tell you right now, this team is square in contention for a Super Bowl. They're right up there with 5 other of the best teams in the National Football League. In fact, if you look at the Super Bowl odds, they're tied with Detroit for having the 5th best odds. And I get it. Super Bowls aren't won on FanDuel. They're not won on DraftKings. They're not won anywhere but on the field. But I think this is good to look at now and say, you know what? This team's got a good shot to win it all at the end of this year. Let me know, what's the percent chance that Green Bay wins the Super Bowl? I know it's a big question. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I just want to hear what the cheeseheads are feeling. Scale it 1 to 100 for me in the comment section down below. While you're down there, you'll see the links to my social media. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and on Instagram at Joey Petersen on both those platforms. More than anything, though, if you're not subscribed yet, change that today by hitting that sub button.